Thank you for having me and allowing me to be part of this group of fascinating individuals. I am Alia AlGhunaim and I accept. When I was first approached, I was ecstatic and honored that I am to take part of such an event. However, as it started to sink in, fear started to creep in as well. What am I to talk about? What have I done? What can people come out of? And mainly, am I good enough to be here? Engage them, make them think. And after further reflection and before fear started to cripple me, I remembered that my daughter recently came over and asked me about school and with the whole situation of the COVID. She was being worried and fearful. And she asked me if I was ever scared of something or faced any challenges in school. I decided that I'll take this talk as an opportunity to challenge myself and to face my fears. So I don't regret not being able to make it or that I made fears hold me back. My daughter's question made me look back to my school days, a turning point in my education, career, and self. Reflecting back, going back a decade and a half, I have to face my fears many times. I had to, and overcome them as well. It started with being a young, impressionable college student, deciding what am I to do with my thesis project, which is incredibly important for any student. For my thesis year, we were asked to select a real client in a real location. So I went to my professor at Kuwait University with my 3 options that I've selected to challenge myself with. The first was a madrasa for Islamic studies. The second, a vet/animal research facility and adoption center. And the third was what I happened to come up on by luck, a bit of a long shot, with the idea of a children's hospice, which came to me through a friend's mother, who I am proud now to call my mother-in-law, who at the time was working with an organization called CATCH, which is the Kuwait Association for the Care of Children in Hospitals. And through my mother-in-law's introduction, a big turning point in my personal life and career occurred when I met the person behind this idea, Mrs. Margaret, the founder and director of CATCH. Honestly, I had no clue what the word hospice means, let alone a children's hospice. So this moment of meeting this person, who I will refer to as Auntie Margaret, a strong, affirmative, passionate, fearless woman who knows what she wants and goes for it, a woman after my own heart, was a pivotal moment for me. She was honestly surprised to see me, since the hospice was a down-the-line dream, and she was shocked that I even heard about it. Auntie Margaret explained to me that a hospice is a place for the terminally ill, and that she would like to create a place for them to have, for the children, to have some respite and to get the necessary palliative care away from the negative vibes of hospitals. That meeting opened up my eyes to things that I never thought of, especially involving death and kids at a young age, and the fears associated with losing someone, the pain of parents outliving their kids and to continue without their smile and the emotional, physical responses to pain. So going back to my professor, I mentioned these details and told him that I'm interested and I'm super excited about the hospice. To my surprise, my professor was uninterested in the concept and said that it was not big enough, that I should focus instead on a hospital for something at a bigger scale as an option. The core idea of a hospice didn't ring a bell to him and defied the whole purpose in his mind. I would also say that the fear of doing something totally new to him and unheard of was a main reason in rejecting the idea. And the fear that comes from people associating this place with a place for death and dying kids, this whole thing created tension, especially being a top student. He was proud to have in the thesis, and now turning this stubborn girl who will not listen. I did, however, think bigger and stuck to my original idea in the fact that I would reinvent the hospice. The first step was selecting the site. I was thinking of finding a plot of land near the sea for the resort feel and near the Ministry of Health and University for logistical reasons, and also wanted the hospital to be near a residential community, so it's part of the the living community and not a secluded location. I then thought that I had to cater the hospice to our culture and the Kuwaiti lifestyle, not only to make something worthwhile, but also to allow families the choice to spend their time as a whole together. It started with the needs of the children and their families, and so the idea of the chalet as the main point for the family as a whole to come and join the kid and be in that experience is not only enjoyed by the parent and the child, but with the support of the family, but instead make it a family affair. The chalet idea of the concept came, the kids should be there to celebrate the remainder of the life, and I decided to create a magical fantasy land for them with a magic carpet, a Ferris wheel, a school, a theater, and a gym, among other things. I also worked in adding a library for the parents and a mosque for respite, and an all-day dining area that will create a sense of togetherness and that you are not alone. Auntie Margaret was ecstatic and the best client an architect could dream of, which unfortunately gave me false expectations for the future. However, I was also lucky to meet Abdullah, a fearless mother who will stop at nothing for her child and whom we ended up the project naming as Beit Abdullah. Her child, who underwent so much medication and refused going to hospitals after he came back from treatment, and who died peacefully with his family almost 30 years ago. I finished my course and presented my thesis and ended up, alhamdulillah, with a good grade because of what was submitted that took a detailed concept and centered it for the required needs. The challenges, of course, didn't stop at that point. We continued to struggle to get the land that I selected, which Auntie Margaret and her husband, Dr. Hilal Al-Sayer, worked tirelessly to secure in Sabikhat Bay to maintain the highest standards for the project. And to maintain that, we contacted and worked with Marks Barfield for the Ferris wheel. These are the same company who did the London Eye. And then we dealt also with international designers like NBBJ, who have worked on Mass General Hospital in the US and the Hangzhou Olympic Sports Center, among other international projects, to do the interior design of this project to create a holistic and to end this unique development that ended up being the first children's hospice in the Middle East and was opened to the public in 2012. 5 years after my first interaction with Auntie Margaret. So with me revisiting my story and what was achieved, it cleared away some doubts and made me realize that fear is a cage we tend to bind ourselves to. Maybe that came with age, responsibility, or with experience, or that we faced, or maybe for comfort after all. Why challenge what was proven to be just fine? And as I stand here, not only mentally by recalling this part of my history, but also physically in this wonderful establishment, and being at this point of my story, I feel like fear is a constant and that it is up to us to have it challenge us or clipper us, that we all have it in one form or the other, and that we all face it differently, depending on how we were raised, what we believe in, or even what experience we go through. So before I end this, I ask you this. If life is a Ferris wheel, would you want fear to have you stick to the back of the cabin with eyes shut? Or would you want to open your eyes, stick your head out, and enjoy life and all its views and the rush of experience? But for me now, as I stand here, and although still have some fears, I do repeat, I am Alia AlGhunaim, and for this talk, I am fearless. Thank you.